Well, this is an interesting development, ladies and gentlemen. It would appear that Rocksteady is not yet done with the Batman cowl, and I'm surprised to see this if this claim is to be believed, because Rocksteady dropped the ball so hard with Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League that it only now has a couple of hundred players, which we'll take a look at in a second, as well as a couple of other things, including the claim and the speculation surrounding Sony trying to make this an exclusive title that they want control of. There is a lot to break down in this claim that the media has run with 1000%. They took the story and they ran with it. So let's read this together as we talk about where Rocksteady is planning to take this new standalone Batman title and how involved Sweet Baby Inc. is going to be. So Rocksteady working on new Batman game, it's claimed, and this is from Insider Gaming. This is one of the first articles that I saw about this. So let's read. Rocksteady Studios could be returning to the Batman franchise in a more traditional sense. According to leaker and rumor monger Special Nick, he understands that Rocksteady is, in fact, working on a new Batman game. On top of that, he thinks Sony is trying to make a play for exclusivity in some way. So Sony wants control of this new Batman title that Rocksteady is reportedly working on, and it's very interesting because Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League was supposed to be a long-term live service title. And of course, this game failed financially and people absolutely despise it in every way imaginable. So there are only a couple of hundred people playing it. Don't let anybody fool you into saying, oh, there are lots of people playing this, because that is clearly not true. Especially if you hop over to Steam charts to see that there are only 256 people playing as of an hour ago, with a 24-hour peak of not even 400 players. This is the Sweet Baby Inc. curse on display for all to see. This is exactly what happens now when you involve these people in your video game. Gamers are completely turned off by titles that have this kind of involvement from gaming consultancy agencies, and they have made themselves known by voting with their wallets. So it makes me wonder why Rocksteady is going back to the drawing board. The question is, are they even going back to the drawing board? Are they going to make a standalone Batman title that exudes the same energy and hype as the original games? The original Arkham games were absolutely stunning, but I think at this point everybody has accepted the fact that Rocksteady is no longer the company that it used to be. It's been replaced by a bunch of DEI ideologues wanting to push a bunch of LGBTQIA+ ideas in their video games, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion that completely ruined the characters, gave us a completely botched and ludicrous Batman death at the hands of an uglified Harley Quinn. One of the worst games in existence, and it shows right here that people were just not having it, and to this day have not given this game a chance. So they quote the guy who made this claim, and we'll take a look at his page in a second so that you can see how valid the entire mainstream media appears to think that this guy is. Quote, not sure which studio people's dreams is, but I heard Rocksteady are back making it, he said in a response to a tweet asking for fans' dreams developers on the next Batman game. I also think Sony are trying to money hat it. So his claim is that they're making a video game, a brand new Batman video game, and that Sony wants a piece of that action. I'm not sure why you would want to, considering their past history. I'm not sure what people see in Rocksteady after that horrible failure that nearly destroyed their company. They've already had to commit to layoffs. If you take a look at the story right here, it goes into detail from PC Gamer. Rocksteady reportedly begins a round of layoffs after Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League's shortcomings slashes its QA team's numbers in half. This was from a few weeks ago. Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League didn't, by most metrics, do what it was supposed to. I don't think by any metric, but okay, on paper it was meant to spin up Rocksteady's pedigree of Batman games into a multiversal live service. Boy, oh boy, did that not happen, aiming for a piece of the pie that games like Fortnite have been scarfing down for years. And it says that things have gone from bad to worse. As reported by Eurogamer, Rocksteady has begun to lay off over half of its QA department with, as the report states, poor sales of Suicide Squad directly cited as a reason. And keep in mind that these people lost so much money for Warner Brothers that at this point it does not seem likely that they can move forward as a company. But it does appear that due to this claim, Rocksteady is taking another crack at a Batman title. And again, these are not the same people, so I expect that this new Batman title is not going to capture the original spirit of those Arkham video games that were so awesome and that people loved for so many years. And it's really interesting to see that this is happening and that anybody would be willing to give this studio a chance after they botched their title so badly and damaged gamers' expectations for their future projects. But there's even more. Staff proceeded to inform the site that there'd be more layoffs coming, with one member stating they were laid off during their paternity leave. Fortunately, Rocksteady is based in the UK, which means said employees should be receiving the rest of their leave, regardless of their unemployment status, but anonymous staff members also expressed concerns that these cuts to the QA department would leave their remaining colleagues shouldered with more work, and that senior management is already expecting the quality of future Rocksteady games to suffer as a result. So what in the world do we have to look forward to with a new Rocksteady game? Is this thing even happening, and why would they even try? Their employees are clearly going to be overwhelmed with responsibilities. How are they going to start development on a brand new game after they've already destroyed their relationship with so many of their previous fans? This seems like an impossible task, does it not? How in the world are these guys going to pull off a Batman game that is somehow as good as the original games and somehow fixes the gigantic mistake that was Suicide Squad killed the Justice League? No other information about what a new Batman game from Rocksteady would entail. The main question is, would it be similar to the Batman games of the past? And I don't think that that will be the case. A single-player game, or would they go the live service route due to parent company Warner Bros. Games being determined to keep making them? Well, I assure you that if you give that mantle to Rocksteady once again to do a live service game, it's going to be met with backlash and people are going to vote with their wallets and not buy it. That's my prediction because of the fact that they failed so hard with their previous live service game. It's clear that they don't even know how to make the game long-lasting fun for people, but on top of that, they were shoving DEI stuff into this game left and right. You could not avoid it, and this game is what sparked all of this Gamergate stuff in the first place. Rocksteady hasn't worked on a true Batman game since 2015's Batman Arkham Knight. And again, that game came out 10 years ago, guys. So it, of course, means that there is a good chance the people that used to work on these games are no longer present. And if they are, they have succumbed to one of the worst ideologies in the world, perpetuated by some of the most evil powers that be. It's insane to think that they would even try again. To be honest with you, I thought that this game developer was eventually going to shut down, but we're still going to look at this post from Marvel vs. Capnick. This is Special Nick. Not sure which studio people's dream is, but I heard Rocksteady are back making it. I also think Sony are trying to money hat it, and I know people are already asking if this is legitimate, and there are a couple things that point to this possibly being the case. Now, Special Nick is a co-founder of XboxEra.com and a co-host of the Xbox Era podcast. This is on youtube.com/c/XboxEra. So this guy has about 19,000 or so followers, and people appear to believe what he is claiming here, and that really does intrigue me. I took a look at his website, Xbox Era, and he's got a lot going on here. I don't know if you guys have seen this website. I've never really heard of this guy or his site before, but the media has taken his story very seriously, and they're pushing it out to the masses. You've got several news outlets running with this story. Rocksteady is rumored to be working on a new Batman game. Rocksteady reportedly returns to the Arkhamverse. Sony reportedly gunning for is Rocksteady Studios making new Batman game reportedly in the works. Everybody is talking about this claim, and it only came out earlier today. But whoever this guy is, people are taking him seriously. So if the media is running with this, there is reason to believe that it may be true. And I do understand that the media cannot be trusted most of the time because more often than not, they are attacking innocent people like us just trying to get information. But the meat and potatoes of this debacle here is the inclusion of Sweet Baby Inc. in a project like this. Do they intend to work with Rocksteady in the future? And are they planning on working with them on this game? That's a big question that I have. Now, there is first-hand testimony from a former Sweet Baby Inc. employee, that Kazuma person that I was talking about in a previous video. They said apparently in a Twitch stream, this person was having a lot of trouble finding work because of their association with Sweet Baby Inc. Now, of course, this contradicts Kim Belair, the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc.'s claims that people have no problem hiring them for their games. These two claims contradict one another, and now there is speculation that is growing on the internet that any person that is associated with Sweet Baby Inc. is going to have a hard time getting hired by any of these game developers because there is increasing knowledge about how damaging this brand is to your brand. Now, why is it that people hated Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League? Well, if you have been living under a rock this entire time or don't know how this whole thing started, started. It started because Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League completely ruined characters in this video game that Sweet Baby Inc. had such a heavy hand in manipulating. And then when this game was called out by a guy in Brazil, put onto a curator list on Steam, one of their employees, Chris Kindred, who is also heavily involved in multiple projects as of today, tried to cancel this guy in Brazil. Cabrutus Rambo tried to get him canceled, tried to get his curator list shut down, even though it had a couple 100,000 members at the time. And these are the types of people that work at Sweet Baby Inc. Kim Belair herself has a problem with white people, and she loves to threaten people that she works with in order to get what they want. There is so much wrong with Sweet Baby Inc., and their work is on full display for all to see. If you take a look right here, you can see a video of their most recent DLC character that was given a bunch of BS rainbow skins, and this is Mrs. Freeze, a non-existent character that they decided to replace with Mr. Freeze because Mr. Freeze is a male, and you can't have powerful males in video games. That's why they made a very flamboyant Joker DLC character right before this, but you got to see this for yourselves, guys, in case you have been out of the loop. Check this out. Oh yeah, baby. Mrs. Freeze.
Come on, Sharko, it's one frozen lady. How hard can it be?
Yeah. So Mrs. Freeze is a DLC character that came out after this game had already had its player numbers plummeting. So when they had like a couple of hundred players left, they're like, okay, Mrs. Freeze is coming out. Gave her a bunch of crap skins. One of them makes her look like a giant rainbow. It's one of the most absurd things I have ever seen. And that on top of the story problems in this game, as well as the descriptions from Lex Luthor in this game, it was just some of the most insane stuff you've ever seen, with Wonder Woman being propped up as a masculine, heroic figure that only tries to do the right thing, while the rest of her Justice League compatriots were a bunch of losers who were easily brainwashed and deserved to be killed by these idiots here. Harley Quinn, right here, about to shoot Batman to death. You guys have to see this.
It'd be me at the end. HALVED.
Are we done with your bad stand-up routine?
Yep, that's what happened.
But you always gotta end on your best joke.
So they just unceremoniously kill Batman right here with one of the worst, weakest villains in DC history. Shoots him right in the face, no remorse. Despite all of their Arkhamverse history, this is how they treat their legacy characters. Again, this is canon to the Arkhamverse. So this game takes place 5 years after Arkham Knight. And if you remember, there was the Nightfall Protocol where Batman went into hiding and became a much darker, more powerful force in the shadows to fight bad guys. So 5 years later, he becomes evil and then gets offed by one of the stupidest villains to ever do it in one of the most unceremonious ways ever. This is current day Rocksteady, which is why so many are doubtful that whatever drawing board they go back to try and salvage what morsels of respect and dignity that they have left is cast into question. These people are not the same Rocksteady that we know and love. Do you think that the Rocksteady who made the previous Arkham games would ever do something like this? And do you think that they would ever be able to match the quality that they once achieved after all of the damage that they have done to their own universe? I mean, several of these DLC characters contradict the lore itself, and the lore inside of this game contradicts the lore of previous games. There's no consistency in the story, no consistency in the characters, and it's all thanks to Sweet Baby Inc. and other gaming consultancy agencies like them. And since it's also been established that these companies do not get rid of DEI in their own departments, they simply rebrand over time, over and over again, naming it something this or something that, while still pushing it, I'm not 100% convinced that Rocksteady has learned its lesson. In fact, there's a good chance, in my opinion, that they have not learned any lessons at all. After all, as mentioned before, they are laying off a bunch of their employees, and it's because of Suicide Squad's failure. And Warner Brothers is not going to just let this go, and I'm wondering why they even allow Rocksteady to continue developing games at this point, or why Sony would even want Rocksteady. It's funny because Sony has seen so much financial success with games that don't have this gaming consultancy crap in it. They see their sales numbers for their original original titles that are actually making a bunch of money right now, and yet they want Rocksteady? It really does confuse me. I wonder why, if this is true, why they would want Rocksteady. Low player numbers and poor sales has not stopped them from trying to push out DEI slop as DLC. So what faith in them have people mustered up out of seemingly nowhere? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see if this story is true, and if it is true, how quickly development is going to happen with this game, who is going to be involved in it, and how much of the agenda we have to look forward to. And that is all I've got in this video for you all today. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't had the chance to like it and share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow meow.